investment perspective. I think this is the most important and important session which will drive you to the point why this industry is seeing such a great amount of investment announcements coming from the largest cloud hyperscalers, from the data center operators. In fact, last year, some reports by some agencies claim that around $11 billion have been invested in data center business. And this asset class has become the darling of most of the investors. There's a beeline of investors who want to invest in this data center. So before we start to the exciting topic about investment perspective of data centers, I'd like to request a short, brief introduction of all the panelists.
Yeah, I'm Syed Mohamed Beary from the Bearys group. We are primarily we work on a data center on a design, build, deliver model. You know, we have delivered 5 data center to NTT Japan. The Microsoft's first data center in Hyderabad is being awarded to us. And right now we are, discussion is going on. Almost 7 data center is under now construction. So altogether we delivered 170 megawatts of power. So data center is measured by virtue of the power. And 265 is under construction. So a long way to go. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sandeep Dandekar. Have been in the field of data centers for about 12, 13 years now, and have been a part of journey for my organization throughout these 12, 13 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Beary Saab. Thank you, Sandeep. I think, firstly, let me start by thanking W.Media to invite us and to be part of the discussion here. Chennai holds special significance to me because the first data center I delivered was in Chennai way back in 2007. So from that time onwards, almost 17, 18 years, I've been in this industries. I can say that it's been a lucky journey and a very eventful and humbling journey to some extent on that. And Chennai has been the one which has allowed me to learn and grow. It's been a great journey here. Many waves of data center trends have seen, right from the first one in the 2002, in which we used to call this smaller server hall as data centers and offer smaller. And we used to be extremely happy if we picked up 500 kilowatt orders and all. So we used to party a lot on that. Then the second trend came somewhere close to around 2012, 13. That's when the hyperscalers started coming in and they started talking megawatts. The first megawatt in Chennai was for e-commerce. When they asked for 6 megawatt of facilities, everything was really surprising and we were wondering what is that, have they got the calculation right? And subsequently that trend started up, and I remember one of the hyperscalers in Pune asking us, we were discussing with them for 15 megawatt and they said, look here, can you assure us something as close to 110 megawatt in coming years? So that's something was the visionary of those hyperscalers way back in 2016. And here we are today, people are not talking 100 megawatts, they're talking more than 200, 300. I'm now part of a Singapore-based company which is, has got a large facilities in Mumbai, which has got planned to build close to 300 megawatt. And we're looking to expand in cities like Chennai and all in the near future. So campuses of 300, 400, 500 megawatt are going to the norm. And we are lucky that we are in this phase because the AI and machine learning trends are coming. And if they do come, it will not be a surprise that we will get into gigawatt capacities. So this is a good space, and Beary Saab, we will ensure he's kept very, very busy, not just 200 and 500. Probably he will next time saying that I'm constructing 1,000 megawatt on that. Thank you. Let's see.
Just to bring, when we speak about investment, any region, why it becomes a magnet of investment, there are various reasons for it. I would like to hear some responses from the audiences. Like for example, in Chennai, which are the top companies, whichever comes to your mind, just keep on telling us about those companies. Anybody can just, which are the top IT companies in Chennai, which are the top auto companies in Chennai, which are the top SaaS companies in Chennai. Can the audience just be more proactive and just speak out the names? Yeah. Anybody else? TCS. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Fast, because I have a reason as to why I'm asking this question to you. So you have so Chennai is called as the Detroit of India because it's the auto hub of India. It's one of the largest manufacturer, and we export a large amount of cars out of. It is also known as the BFSI hub because of a lot of banking and financial services are back offices are based out of Chennai. Now there is a reason behind asking this question, that the more the number of industries, the more amount of data generation or the more amount of information processing happens, and that is where the whole investment for data center gets justified. So Chennai has been one of the important cities located out of southern India, which has been a biggest contributor. Some numbers on Tamil Nadu economy. Tamil Nadu's economy is the second largest economy in terms of GDP contribution to India. It also, it is also the SaaS capital of India. It is also the auto hub of India. And recently, the Global Investor Summit of Tamil Nadu, an MOU of 6.64 lakh crores was signed. So even a percentage of this comes into picture, it means a huge investment. And every investment, every industry, whether it's a banking, whether it's a BFSI, whether it's a manufacturing, every industry today has to operate on a digital net platform. And without digital platform, they can't survive. And that is where the data centers play a pivotal role in the growth. So having said this background of from the growth of the Chennai market and the investments that have to come into it, my first question would be to Vinod, who comes from a Asia Pacific perspective, as to how is India perceived in Asia Pacific region in terms of data center investments, and then we will go to Chennai and other lower down.
Thank you, Jitesh. I think it's a very relevant question because you understand data is something which can be transported across locations seamlessly. And it's in a fraction of milliseconds you are able to extract data. So location is, if you see from a realistic perspective, location doesn't play much of an impact in trying to store and process. But having said that, there are certain other characteristics which are required to make the storage and processing of data more economical, more localized, more able to develop a base for the rest of the entrepreneurs to grow on that. Many speakers have spoken earlier also. There are enough statistics to prove that the data consumptions in the India region is growing at a very rapid pace. And if past data is something which we need to rely on, the future consumption, I just heard in the morning a report in 2028, each individual is probably going to draw 65 GB of data per month. So 65 GB is something, and you can multiply with the number of new generation people who are going to come and be access to all the data thing. Everything is going to be revolving around how fast we are able to extract data and how fast we are able to pass on data to the rest of the things. So this, and the major factors for that is the COVID has proven very clearly that India as a country is very, very flexible to adapt to new technologies, and they're adapting fast. And there was an assumption that education qualification and percentage of educated people is directly linked to how they use the data, but that has been proved wrong. It is the ability to easily access data rather than education, which is the one factors which is driving the consumption. Having said that, there are many emerging markets in the Asia Pacific. I represent, as I said earlier, digital edge India. We are based out of Singapore and we operate in the markets of Korea, Japan, Indonesia, Philippines, even Bangladesh. We have started something, and we're going to start something in Malaysia and Thailand going forward. So we are a vast exposure in highly developed countries, including Japan and Korea, to developing countries like in Philippines, in Indonesia. And among that, our major focus is on India. There are many factors. One of the factors is, as I said, is the rapid rise in the consumption of data. And the other factors from an investor perspective, our cost of construction, a basic infrastructure, what we call related to cost per megawatt, is what is the indicators in the market, that how much does it cost to construct an infrastructure which can process 1 megawatt of data in terms of power on that, is the lowest in the world. Obviously, we are very close to China. China is there. For example, in Japan, while we have indicating numbers, it varies a little bit from the range of 5 to 7. On an average, we have got construction cost about $6 million US per megawatt. In Japan, it is 18 million, 3 times. So because of this, we still remain to most of the investors as a great value creators on that. Hence, there is a focus and there is an interest. And historic data, as we see in the last 20 years, there has been a rapid growth in the capacity utilization of the data centers. And the early movers have benefited a lot on that. And the digital journey, obviously through the various factors which are internal in nature, including some of the favorable government policies, including the Tamil Nadu policies which they indicated, are a clear indicators that your investment is safe, gives you good value returns for you, and is something which we can look for large-scale deployment here. So that's one of the reasons we feel this, that India is in the top of the radar, and we got almost all the big players already entered India or in the process of getting into India. So this is something, is a journey which has started a couple of years back. I don't see it stopping for another 2 decades at least on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would request Sandeep to cover the operational aspect from which Chennai is considered to be more favorable in terms of data centers compared to other cities in India. And then we can come to the Beary sir in terms of his experience across cities, how he views those cities in India.
Sure. So there are some things like natural advantage, logical advantage, and there are a few things like which is a cultivated or a created advantage.
Yeah.
I think Chennai is getting a mix of both.
Yeah.
Natural advantage is because it remains to be a second choice immediately after Mumbai for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a primary site at Mumbai, you want a DR site, for example, or you want an additional footprint in the cloud, the cloud zones as we call it. So you have regional cloud zones. So Chennai is one. The reasons being, it is in a different seismic zone. The great advantage India has, let's say you talk about a small country, you have 2 sites, primary and DR site or a backup site. You possibly have to go to a neighboring country or a different country because the country is small. India is so large that if you have a site in Mumbai, you can always come to Chennai. So geographically, you are creating a zone of separation. Politically, you are creating. Tectonically, you are creating. So that's one advantage. Chennai has a tremendous amount of technical brain which is homegrown here. So there is no dearth of talent. You don't have to worry about how do I get manpower? Do I have to create some kind of a pool to get manpower? So that's another advantage. The third is a coast. The cable landing is here. So these are all the advantages. And in my opinion, now that we are going beyond hyperscalers, Chennai and the cities near Chennai. It is like hub and spoke model. So if you have a hyperscaler data center, let's say in Mumbai, then you can possibly cater to another 400-500 kilometers, 700 kilometers around that from that main data center. If you want to service some deeper pockets, let's say of Tamil Nadu or down south, then obviously Chennai becomes your hub from where you will deliver your data model. You know, it's like logistics ultimately.
Yeah. So Beary sir, your turn. We'll take this question on. So the next question, because Beary sir has extensive experience in construction of data centers across India. I would like to share his, understand his insights on how these main cities like Mumbai, Chennai, say Hyderabad or NCR market, how are they different, and how is Chennai unique in terms of data center capabilities, setting up of data center industry?
Yeah. Thank you, Jitesh ji.
Yeah.
You see, I think Chennai got it's an inherent strength, not from today, from the inception. Last 50 years also, Chennai got its very unique, advantage. For example, on the learning front, when we interview any other person, invariably when a guy comes from Tamil Nadu, he will say, first I am a diploma in, triple E or civil or mechanical, then he will do his engineering. So they got the best of both the worlds. That is not the case in other states. Whether it is Karnataka or Maharashtra or Northern India, you will have either engineering or diploma. That is one aspect. Number two, you see, the best of brain, whether instrumentation or engineering, almost 60% is from Chennai. In our company, majority, almost 80% are from Chennai. Even though our headquarters is in Bangalore, Chennai got that is an inherent strength. Now coming to our experience, we started off in Bangalore way back in 2016. That's the first time I heard about data center from Mr. Sharad Sanghi, the head of NTT. And then we built that project, 300,000 square foot, about 10 megawatts of power, all inclusive in 12 months' time. So it was like a miracle happened. So that has given us a great deal of traction. With that traction, we have built almost 3 million square foot to data center in Mumbai, Chennai, and other places. And then, of course, the data center, we are working on Microsoft in Hyderabad. That's what I mentioned to you in the morning. So overall, data center is a sunrise industry. There is no two ways about it. And then investment point of view, see, investment when sunrise, investment people, the so-called PE fund and sovereign fund and, many other funds, they all come like a bandwagon, Now the point here is when they come, if you notice in most of the cases, what happens is, there is a demand. With the demand supply will happen, then the investors will come and they will give it is all, for them it is all a number game. The blood, sweat and tears we do, when you do the construction at the site, it's like a blood, sweat and tears. Construction is a labor of love for us. But for the PE fund, it is all number game. They change 3 into 5, it becomes a different IRR. It's all IRR game. That's what they play. And then, of course, we require the fund. We require the deep, because data center is all about, it is a capital intensive and power intensive. And then as Javur Saab mentioned, we are talking of, 5 to 7 million per megawatts. And generally speaking, it's all 50 to 100. So it's a huge investment. And that obviously cannot generate by the local deep pockets. We have to have a support from the foreign, foreign institutions. And that's what's happening today. The big names, you name it, whether it's a Blackstone or Ardia, and you name the fund, they're all here. They are trying to be here. And they are not here merely as an investor. They have gone one step more. 2 years back, most of the data center operators used to contact us. Today, in last 1.5 years, every second week, we have been contacted by the fund who wanted to start a operating company, operating platform. So I tell them, I said, sir, data center, unlike IT, it is not you put the money, you get the sanction, get the contractor, build and do it, and get the exit in 5 or 7 years. Data center is totally a different ballgame altogether. Data center, according to me, the operational skill, the ability to operate, that is a key factor. That is not there with the most of the people who are coming, scouting for the, investment. So it is important that, there are very few, from an Indian perspective, there are just about, 3 big names, who have really been working on this for last 2 decades. And the foreign company which has come, of course, all the top 3 guns are here. So that, but eventually, with my limited knowledge, it is not that all and sundry is going to survive. Like in telecommunication, at the end of the day, only 3, 4, got survived. Otherwise, they have gone with the wind. So data center industry also same thing going to happen, unless and otherwise people understand the nitty-gritty of data center. Data center is design, got the property done, construction. No, what is operational? The ease of operation. Ease of operation is absolutely important because it is a mission critical. Data center is a mission critical. So that is what we required. And I think, we have collectively, we need to work towards that. Every data center operator should see the larger picture. Where India as a data center hub, how the international operator view the Indian data center ability to deliver. So that is important. So that is where we need to ponder upon. Thank you.
Just to add some few points to the investment perspective of data center is data center as an asset class has been a recent origin, and now the interest in data centers has become much and much is increasing day by day. Obviously, whenever a simple question, whenever we say that we want to invest, we obviously ask the returns question, right? And returns question also comes with a risk. Data center as an asset class offers almost a long-term stable returns, but obviously it is a very technologically complex subject. The kind of changes, the kind of technological changes that happen in this industry also affect the returns and the variability and the competition in the industry. So obviously, as an asset class, as a new emerging asset class, there is a very high amount of return as well as the risk attached to it, and because of that, you see a large amount of investments are coming into this sector. In US markets, data center REITs are already prevalent in the market, just as we have real estate REITs in India, which are mostly on office space assets. There are data center REITs in globally, which are very common, and they have made phenomenal returns during this last post-COVID period, during the COVID as well as post-COVID period also. So this is a class of asset class which is also compared to like an infrastructure asset, because this is a digital infrastructure of the future. Mind you, this is not going to be just, so when people refer to data center, they think of, imagine it is just a servers and racks and a lot of power and data connectivity. But it is an important asset class in terms of all the information, all the wisdom, all the knowledge, all that you do on a daily basis, which is getting stored, which is getting computed, which is getting generated into results. The artificial intelligence, which in short can be said like a machine which will start thinking like human beings and start acting like human beings. That is the next level of, next era of digital revolution, which is just started, and data center is going to be the base of it. So obviously the investment perspective in this sector is quite exciting. And on that note, I would like to know some, if there are any questions or if there are any doubts that the audience has, that they could ask the panelists. Happy to open the forum for that. Any questions? Yeah, sorry, yeah.
You see, data center is a most secured investment opportunity the PE funds are looking for. Because data center, unlike IT, if you get a build to suit, on a lease model or a sale model, entire risk is eliminated. And if if become a sale model, so then there is no cost of finance. So that way the IRR is going to be really much better than any IT investment or any other real estate investment. So that is a one unique aspect of data center. Number two, in the data center lease model, unlike IT, which is normally they give 3 years, 5 years duration, 3 years lock-in, and then maybe 1 or 2 terms of renewal. Whereas in data center, it is 30 to 50 years is a duration, and 20 to 30 years is a lock-in. I mean, what more you want? So that is a fantastic return, so that the guy who comes with the investment, if he gets 3 or 4 increment, his return on investment is tenfolds. So that is one of the reasons people are really flocking into Indian data center market. And of course, it is not everyone's cup of tea. It is not money alone is makes the project successful. It is beyond that. It is beyond the capital. We need to work. So that is how the data center works.
Excuse me. I have.
Yes.
Go ahead. I have a question to the panel, not to any individual per se. Maybe not exactly talking about India and Tamil Nadu, but in India, we see a lot of these big 4 or 5s, the hyperscalers. They were waiting for a certain break-even. I have no idea why they were not coming in earlier, but they were all depending on the operators building data centers here, so they come in and host their services. Now that we are seeing still the operators who are building data centers in India, typically if after them, the big 4 or 5s, but still, as Beary Saab said, the Microsoft is investing directly into it. They are building their own data centers. AWS is coming directly into it. Again, the entire fraternity is after, again, those 4 or 5. So, one, we know that there's a huge the data center requirement in terms of the scalable and whatever final capacity we talk about. But I think this morning someone spoke about there are many other market within the Indian market. So is there a data centers market still available for the operators to build for these big 4 hyperscalers, even after having these hyperscalers coming in directly? So I don't know whether it's a question or it's just an open discussion, but it's a point of discussion which I want to just ignite.
Yeah, I mean, interesting question. Thank you. Yes, are we looking beyond the big 4s who are here? Yes, definitely. I think in terms of the digitization revolution which is happening not only in India, it's happening throughout all the developing countries. The need to get into new sectors, new areas which are unexplored are very high. It's only a matter of time that when the initiatives and all come through, we will have these new opening, especially when from an India perspective, Indian economy is growing at such a rapid pace. Now we are getting a requirement from bankers who used to talk about earlier 2 megawatt, 3 megawatt. They're now talking about 30, 40 megawatts. And they're not looking at cloud services. They will have a parallel cloud services with some of these major hyperscalers on that. But other than that, for their own critical application running, they're having capacity of 30. So the banking sectors, as the economy grows, the number of individuals transacting digitally is going to increase drastically. So one is the banking sectors. Then there is an FMGC sectors, which as an individual, as of now, their own capacity is very limited. They take a couple of racks in some of the enterprise players, and some probably operate through the cloud. They themselves will rapidly increase. That's on the sectors which are more into private or semi-private. But look at the opportunities of the government. Huge healthcare requirements. That if you try to digitize healthcare and bring it to we are aspiring to be a developed countries. All this digital healthcare, digital insurance, digital management of the whole public services offered by the government and public works department. They're all potential opportunities to be into the digital platform. ultimately, each individual would like to have an experience which is fast, easy, and convenient. And that's the true. No one would like to stand in the queue to get one certificate for a whole day. This is opportunity which will now start coming up. And not all of them will go through the cloud. Almost half of them will have their own processing because of some data requirement, and also to have the flexibility on the ability to modify some of the applications on that. That's one thing. Now look at the second things based on this. This is one which is the traditional one. Now what will generative AI lead to? Now the AI has come, you have heard from IBM experts. It just establishing a platform for many people to start developing applications. And believe from me, these applications will be localized. They will be something which will be as localized going forward to address a very small community. It could be your society will be running on an app. Your building where you have got 300 apartments may be running a very, very high-end application. And there will be many developers will be using this AI to develop. So it's creating the whole ecosystem to add capacities beyond this big four on that. And the second question probably you asked is, there are only 4 players who are there. Okay. But the pie is so large. Even if the 4 players eat up to their nose level, there is still capacity available for the rest of the guys to pick it up. And this how is that? For the period of time, as Bearys have said, consolidation will happen, but it's still far away on that. So to cut short and give you simple, there is a big amount of opportunity beyond this 4. There is a space for many players to come because, you know, the technology changes so fast. The biggest fear for all established players is legacy data center. Are we stuck with the asset which is non-usable for the next generation? That's the worry the existing players are having. The new players don't come with that kind of fear. So there is a scenario for everyone to play around.
Thank you for comprehending that. Just only one thing I want to leave out with. Probably that's what will, work towards $5 to $7 million per megawatt. That can actually, because we run after same 4 or 5. Again, as you said, there is a capacity available, there's a requirement available, but we can still look at, because it's $5 to $7 million, what they spend, they expect a similar quality, and nothing comes as cheap in India as much as today. I know that from a labor perspective, skill and everything. So it will probably go high as and when, again, dollar per kilowatt for an operators might improve. I have no idea about that, but I haven't been operating data centers, so that's what I leave out with my.
Let me, I think this is a myth which most of it, let me take 2 minutes on this. Most of them believe that we are constructing cheap because we don't put quality in the material. That is absolutely not correct.
I agree with you.
We are cheap because of various factors which adds to a small penny wise. My consultancy fees is little lesser than the global one. My transportation fees is little lesser than that. My manufacturing charges are little less on that. While the taxes of GST is in line with the international standard, the small delta which everyone brings adds to that. So this misconception that Indians build cheap because they use inferior material is absolutely wrong. I can say it's an attitude how we bring in the quality which makes the difference. I can assure you, going down the line, our data center in India will be no different from any other developed countries in that. So it's a matter of now getting used to the way we put the things together. It's only a matter of time. We will be there. That's
absolutely true. I mean, today the qualities at data centers, what I've seen is up to the mark of whatever international standard. So that's exactly what I'm saying. We give the best. Probably that's how the industry would look for and to accept as well.
Anybody else?
So one more question here. This is with respect to the hyperscale data centers. As we are moving towards high density racks, so just a clarification, if the floor efficiency will increase with respect to the high density racks.
Flashlight doesn't work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I just have a clarification, like as this is with respect to the hyperscale data centers. As we move towards the high density racks, which means like the floor efficiency will increase, like because if I'm going to keep 3 to 4 racks, high density rack will cater to all the applications. Is that mean that the floor space will shrink, which will have a better efficiency with respect to overall floor area? Thank you.
It has to, because ultimately your unit cost, when we talk about, just to combine these 2 points, I will not even use word cheap. We are price sensitive, we are competitive. We have learned to challenge costs. We are supported by our incoming supply chain, who is also very, very competitive. And it's all about market being very matured in terms of index of competition. Let's say all the OEMs, they are in a very fierce competition. We as service providers are increasingly getting competitive, and that's how our price points are lower. So it's not cheap. Now, coming to the same point here, everything is about money. Everything is about what's your cost, what's your price, what's your margin. And be it megawatt, be it floor space, which means megawatt per floor space, is ultimately your index of competitiveness, index of your commercially being healthy. There is no question that we can compromise the space aspect. It has to be optimized. No brainer, I think.
No, yeah, thank you. Very well said. Yes, the space will come down, but the way you need to look at it, if you are a developer, you must look at this, can I add extra capacity in the same space? That's how is the positive swing to that, on that. But does the space coming down reduce to some financial benefit? Probably not much, because you see, long time back, because I've been in this industry for a long time, we used to earlier sell space at cost per square feet. Now we are selling it cost per megawatt, because space is now becoming a lesser and lesser significant portion of the overall cost. It is the infrastructure which supports the processing power becomes significant portion of it. So if you are saying that must I do only small for high density, you can do, but probably you're better off trying to do a bigger one, because the space, what you save may not be a very big delta in reducing your cost on that. What cost is coming is in the external infrastructure which you build on that. So yes, the answer is space will come down. You can use it for building less, or you can use it to build more capacities on that. I hope it clarifies.
Correct. And maybe just 1 minute more. So the density aspect that you talked about, sorry. The density aspect that you talked about, few years ago it used to be like 4 or 5 kilowatt per rack. Now we are talking about 14, 15, 20 already. And it is expected that in a few years time we will hit something like 90, 100, right, per rack with the AI workloads. Now that also changes the way you are constructing. Bearys is here. The data centers that were built maybe in 2015, 16 were 1500 kg per square meter. Now we are already talking about close to 3000. God alone knows where is it going to go further. So it is not a linear cost. It is not one thing at a time. It is always a complex equation. It is A plus B plus C plus D equal to something. So you have to really separate out variables one at a time to understand what is a function of each on price or cost. It is not in isolation.
I mean, before concluding, I think we must go with a positive note. To sum up the data center industry, sky is the limit, or perhaps sky is not the limit. For next 10 years, the requirement vis-a-vis the supply, there's a great deal of deficit. So there's a great deal of opportunity for everyone to play. It is the tenacity of the operator, who take all the stakeholders together and then deliver a world-class data center makes a difference.